We start with the prayer, and then after that, we will recap some of these things and then record it and then put it on the YouTube. Okay, let's start with the prayer. So I just forgot that. Okay, gently close your eyes. Bring your attention of the mind on the heart. Feel for the presence of the Divine Master and pray for his long life, good health, and for the success of the mission. ಸೊ ನೀ ಬರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ಗೋಪಾಲಕೃಷ್ಣ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. ಏನ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವು ಭರತ್? ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಿಂದ ಜಾಗೃತವಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹುಡುಗಿ ಹಿಂದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ ನಾವು. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ಈಗ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಅಭ್ಯಾಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಎವ್ರಿ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸಿ, ಹೌ ಶುಡ್ ದೇ ಬಿ ಟ್ರೈನ್ ಬೈ ದ ಪ್ರಿಸೆಪ್ಟರ್? 4 fundamental questions we need to teach the abhyasis. Modalu, first we have to teach them how to do the meditation properly. Of course, side by side, we will teach them the techniques. Meditation, the cleaning, the prayer, the relaxation, point B, cleaning, all those things are techniques. That is one aspect of the training. The second aspect of the training, which is the most critical, most crucial as far as spiritual journey is concerned, is to bring to their attention the importance of awareness and self-reflection. Now the next question comes, what to do with the awareness and self-reflection? With the awareness and self-reflection, we have to get the ability, develop the ability of the abhyas to answer 4 fundamental questions. What are the 4 fundamental questions that every abhyasi should be able to answer? Any abhyasi who is in a heartfulness should be able to answer these questions within 3 to 6 months. If we can work like that, then you see how we can actually change the way that abhyasi progresses. The first one is, what is a condition? Second one is, how to recognize the condition? Third one is, how to develop the condition? Fourth one is, while working with the condition, how to actually progress spiritually. When we can actually get all the abhyasis within 6 months to develop an answer to these 4 questions, then it's almost like the abhyasi is on an auto trajectory. Without the abhyasi developing an answer to these 4 questions with clarity, the trajectory is not formed. Okay, so when we can get the abhyasi to develop answers to these 4 questions with clarity, they are in an autopilot mode. Then they know what are they supposed to do with every session of meditation at home. What are they supposed to do after sitting, individual sitting? What are they supposed to do after satsang? What are they supposed to do after bandhara? And how to prepare for the bandhara? All these things they will know. Now you might wonder, why is that it needs to be actually elaborated with words? Condition is a feeling. But here we are asking you to elaborate with words. Why is that necessary at all? It is necessary because any person who is in the Pinda Pradesh, they are very sensitive to the effect of the words. A person who goes beyond the Pinda Pradesh to the Brahmanda Mandal and then thereafter, they become more sensitive to feelings and hence more sensitive to conditions. Now, you cannot expect a person who is only sensitive to the level of the words to suddenly become sensitive to feelings. It's going to take some time. It's almost like I might be well versed in a English language, I might not know Kannada language. And I have started teaching Kannada language, and I cannot expect that person to pick up Kannada in every nuances from day one. That's not going to happen, right? The person needs to learn the language for sufficient period of time so that over a period of time they'll be able to learn it by themselves. So when we actually answer these four questions and get the Abhyasi to develop an answer to this particular question by themselves, by elaborating with the help of words, which is what they are sensitive to in the Pindu Pradesh in the first few points, then it becomes easy for the Abhyasi to work with those conditions in due course of time. Now, if you go back to heartfulness way, Daji writes one sentence that teaching is the least of the work of the master. That's not the main work of the master. Then you might wonder, what is the work of the master then? The work of the master is to impart the condition by presence. Their currency of interaction with the Abhyasi is condition, not words. Okay? Now, until unless we become sensitive to that currency of interaction with the master, how will we become closer to the master? How will we know what work master has done on us? And how can we benefit out of it? So, masters work at the level of the conditions. The more quicker we are able to develop an ability in the Abhyasi to recognize and work with the conditions, the more their heart will start getting aligned with the master. It's almost like now, whenever an Abhyasi comes across the master, they are now both in the same currency or same language. They're speaking the same language of conditions. So they'll be able to converse very easily. They'll be able to relate to the master very easily. Does it make sense? All these few things, whatever we have discussed today. Now, why do Abhyasis languish for years together? It is because these four fundamental questions are not answered, nor are they taught how to develop an answer to these four fundamental questions. Nobody emphasizes to them about the importance of awareness and self-reflection. Okay, so I'll stop here. Any questions I'll take. Because all of you are in different stages of evolution as an Abhyasi. That's including myself. But the point is, since we are actually discussing about this particular topic, ponder about whatever we have now elaborated, and then any questions that you might have, because you will be asking on behalf of other Abhyasis also, if you have questions.
Initially, the mind will be such chaotic in a way that so many thoughts come up. So to recognize the feeling, it's not. I mean, that's itself is a task. How to develop on it further and work with it.
That's where the Pranahuti comes in. That is where the skill and the effectiveness of the perceptor comes in. That is where having clarity how to do meditation comes in. The 3-2-1. All these things actually aid in turning the mind from the level of the words towards the feelings, which is the condition. But what you said is correct. There's a big challenge. But then, as you have seen with some of the recent abhyasis that have come, they're already sensitive to feelings. So, why to assume that people will not be sensitive to feelings? It is just that we have to turn their attention towards the feelings. That's all we have to do. Now, if we keep their attention focused on the thoughts that come in their meditation during the time of meditation, obviously their attention will go towards that. So, if I ask a question after the meditation, or tell me what were the kind of thoughts that you were getting during meditation. So, where am I sending their attention next time around? Oh, next time this person is going to ask me what kind of thoughts I was getting in meditation. So, let me focus on the thoughts and then make a note of it so that I can tell it next time. Can you see? So the art of redirecting the attention of the Abhyasi during the meditation is a skill of the perceptor. And Babaji keeps writing in one of the letters in seventh volume, he writes, now tell me, where is your attention going to and where is it settling down? That's a question that he asks in Abhyas in the letter. During the meditation, where does your attention go to and what issue does it settle down? Now, obviously, in order to note that, we need to be aware. Without awareness, how will you know where the attention is going and settling? Again, it comes back to the importance of awareness. Does it make sense? So this is very, very important. Of course, this is a new thing, and obviously now that we are going to shed a bit more attention and light on this, various nuances of how to actually optimally deliver to the Abhyasi will come about. We are talking about it for the first time, elaborating on this for the first time, that we should be able to help teach a new Abhyasi also on this particular aspect. See, we have a new joiners connect. Now, what is it that is supposed to be taught to them? This is what needs to be taught to them. When you get the new Abhyasis connected, the new joiners connected, and we organize different programs, if we can actually teach them this particular aspect, because I'm pretty much sure that different preceptors probably might have different approaches. Some people might say, it is not for me to teach, it is for them to pick up over a period of time. Some people might say, okay, it is for me to just bring their attention to it once, after that it's their job, let them do it. Some people might say, no, 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 I will work on it regularly till the Abhyasi settle down in this particular aspect. And some people might say, no, this is the most critical aspect of the entire spiritual journey. We have to work on it from day one. So you can see that until unless the perceptors themselves have clarity on these aspects, their emphasis also will be varied. Does it make sense? So that is why. But I'm pretty much sure that if we have this approach, any person who comes to meditation, see, most of the people who are now coming to meditation are people well educated. And if this kind of a clarity is given to them regarding what is it that they have actually need to develop for them to progress in meditation and also to recognize their own progress in meditation, I'm pretty much sure that most of the people will be happy to learn about this. Because obviously, this is an exercise that they have to do using their intellect and attention, which they are anyway well versed. That's what they learn in their education, no? They in the education they learn how to use their attention and how to develop their intellect, how to develop clarity. If you can impart these three things from day one in the direction of spirituality. Now, what is the direction of spirituality? The condition. If you can do that from day one, obviously most of the abhyasis will be very, very inclined to actually learn. And then they'll think that this is a science that we need to learn. This is not something like a mumbo jumbo. It is a critical science and it is a very easily doable, replicatable thing. Now, if I learn, like swimming is a replicatable skill, meditation is also a replicatable skill, provided you know what to do, what not to do, and what to pick up during the session of the meditation. And then how to develop the language of the meditation. Does it make sense? You can ponder about it. We have no objection. But whatever came during the meditation, this started during the Dilse program of Daji. On Saturday, it was there, no 11 o'clock. So during that session of meditation, all these things came about. I'm just kind of elaborating on that. That's why you need to learn to recognize the seed that you get during meditation, the session. Then that initial seed can grow into a huge tree of learning. Next question. Don't worry about the book. We'll go through the book, not to worry. We have enough time. Now, these are most important practical skill we have to develop. If you are developing this skill, you are killing all the samskaras at once. Okay? This skill kills all samskaras at once. There is no difference. Okay? Skill means Skill. So S is at the start. Kills means Kills. S is at the end. So kills all the samskaras. How that's how important this particular aspect is. Even when I was just pondering about within myself, I was just wondering, Arey, why did it not come to us a long time back? We have been talking about it, not so explicitly. Maybe this is what most people actually want to come and learn here when they come for meditation with us. Many people want to come not only for the session of meditation, but also learn about the nitty-gritties of the meditation and how to do the work in meditation. So when this thought came out in the meditation 2 days back, it just felt like everything kind of fell into its place. And now about the importance of awareness, importance of reading, importance of using the intellect or the Vijnana Kosha, all these things make sense. Because in the Pinda Pradesh, that is what is the strongest weapon that an Abhyasi has got. Okay. Any other question?
In one of the talk, uh, I don't remember Daji or Charji says that if you really want to enjoy spirituality, then develop sensitivity. So how are these related?
Sensitivity is nothing but an ability of the person to catch the condition, recognize the condition, and work with the condition. That is all sensitivity is. What is sensitivity? Sensitivity is directly related to the condition. If an Abhyasi comes innately having that ability to recognize the condition, work with the condition, and use the condition for their growth, we just say that that person is very sensitive. If an Abhyasi does not know how to work with the condition, how to recognize the condition, that means that we say that the person is not so sensitive. That's all it is. Sensitivity is directly related to the condition. That's all. Ability to recognize, ability to work with it, and ability to utilize it for their spiritual journey. That's sensitivity. So you cannot say a person is sensitive if the person does not have the ability to recognize the condition itself. So any Abhyasi who comes and takes the sitting and says after the sitting, I felt lost throughout the sitting, and day in and day out they keep saying the same thing. Or an Abhyasi who comes and takes the sitting and every time they give only feedback. How was the sitting? It was nice. That means they have not developed sensitivity. Because obviously, apart from the feeling of niceness, there are so many feelings that come in meditation. In other words, they are stuck with one feeling only, which is nicety. Okay. So there are a lot of people in Bangalore who always want to use only nice road to go from one place to another place. There are many other roads that you can actually take to reach the place, but they are very comfortable only going on the nice road. Likewise, some of our abhyasis are only comfortable to stick to the feeling of nicety and not any other feeling. Okay, so they go together, nice and nice road. And there is one other nice, NISC, and that is one of the most commonly abused medication. NISC is nimusalide. It's a painkiller. So many people have gone into kidney failure because of abusing that painkiller. NISC. These two are NICE. Both are nice only. One nice is good for the doctors, not so good for the patients. Other nice is good for the travelers. This third nice is good for the spiritual people. And there is a fourth nice for a sensitive spiritual person, and that is NICE in capitals. Each one elaborated or expanded as a newness, inspiration, clarity, and energy. Whenever a person in meditation touches super consciousness, they develop the nice. See, there are four nices now: NISE, NICE, NICE, and capital NICE with elaboration. Now you can work out which nice you want to catch. And Gopal Krishna always wants to catch the nice road only. Ullas also wants to go on the nice road only all the time. See how we can actually learn just by observing our day-to-day occurrences. So four nices. So Ganeshan, you wanted to ask something?
No, brother. So normally when a preceptor gives a sitting for half an hour, um, when at the end of the sitting, they like to prescribe, mention what was the condition and everything. Normally we try to finish it in 1 or 2 minutes. But ideally, we should be able to express that entire half an hour what happened in that sitting. But we don't do. The reason is some preceptors they don't like to elaborate. They say, "Is it good or bad?" Some are they make it short. And yeah, from today's session, I heard no, it's better because I was also thinking last half an hour what I was doing. Was it thoughtless? Was it I was into some other activity, or how was it is? So there are a lot of things to be prescribed in one. Ideally, it should take another half an hour to prescribe the entire thing. So I thought, okay, that's
See, this is sensitivity. This is what we have to teach the Abhyasi. Now, we don't need to ponder about too much about what all things has been experienced by the Abhyasi during the course of the sitting. You don't need to ponder too much about it. But every experience of meditation or every session of meditation gives a clue regarding what is happening inside to you. And you have to develop that ability to pick up the clues that is coming from inside. That's also another aspect of sensitivity. So if a person is becoming more aligned to the condition, then if they were to watch themselves during the course of the meditation with awareness, they will be able to say, okay, I felt nice, I felt peaceful, but I felt peaceful after 20 minutes of session of the meditation. Then you are going to work out what happened during the first 20 minutes. Then if the niceness, the feeling of peace was felt in the last 10 minutes, what happened to that before? And then when we say working with the condition, the peace will not stay as it is. As and when we progress in meditation, the nature of the peace will change. It's quite possible in the previous session you felt peace. In the next session, you might not feel peaceful. You might feel restless. Now, that gives a clue regarding what is happening as far as your session of meditation is concerned. So, one of the things that we have to look at is meditation is not an isolated activity. It is a sequential activity. Like in the school, we build from one lesson in the previous time to the next lesson in the next period, and then to the subsequent lesson in the next period. Although each lesson might appear to be a disjointed, but they all belong to the subject, the same subject. Now, in an English class, I will not come and teach a Kannada class, Kannada session, or I will not come and teach a science or social lesson. In the English class, we go through the things which are there in the English book. One chapter towards the next chapter, and then the next chapter. And each chapter, there are certain things that we have to learn. But I'll stick to English language or the English subject. Likewise, although our experiences can be varied during the course of the meditation, the work of the meditation is a very sequential thing. And if we can actually recognize this sequence over a period of time, you will see that we are all working with the subject of spirituality and experience based learning. Many people take the shortcut route. The shortcut route is this. I'll tell you what is the shortcut route many people take. Don't worry about any experiences, don't think about any experiences. Whatever experience you have in meditation, just write it down in the diary, forget about it. That's one of the things that many people actually follow. And the reason why they follow that is eventually we have to come to a state where we have to go to an experience-less experience condition or the state. That's what is the ultimate condition that we have to come to. Then their argument goes in a way that why worry about experience at all? Anyway, we have to go to the experience-less experience state or condition conditionless condition state. So why worry about any condition at all? This is their argument. The counter argument for that would be, alright, suppose I'm learning ABCD subjects throughout the course of the engineering. Then if I don't know what I'm going to do after engineering. I might end up in a particular job where I'll use only a small portion of what I have learned during the engineering. Now, without knowing what is it that I'm going to use post-engineering, if I were to say, no, I'm in computer science, so I'm only going to study one language in computer science only, I'm going to search for a job only in this language only, otherwise I'm not going to do any work. Now you tell me, are we preparing the candidate well? If during the course of that 4 years of engineering, we tell the person, oh, you only learn only one language and that's it. And there are many languages which come and go in computers and some become obsolete. Then if a person were to stick to one language and that becomes obsolete, what is going to happen to the person's life in terms of their livelihood? It is a given fact that we might study a lot of things during our training, during engineering or medical. But actually in practice, we use a very small component of that in the practice. We will not use everything that we have studied, right? Likewise, while learning, we have to learn all the things. We might use a small component of it in our journey. That's okay. But if you say, since I'm anyway going to use only small component, I'm only going to learn that small component, I'm not going to learn anything, then that is not going to give you the length and breadth of the learning that you have to undertake. It's only when we understand, it's like, suppose take example, similar example in spirituality. In first chakra, there are quite a few conditions. I say, no, I want only one condition in first chakra, a small component of it. After that, I don't want to have anything related to the first chakra. I'll go to second chakra. That's not going to help. When we say that we are mastering the chakra, we need to learn to experience the different conditions that are there in each chakra. When we experience the different condition in each of these chakra, we not only recognize where the work is occurring, we will also be able to recognize to what extent the work has occurred and when will the Abhyasi be able to move to the next chakra. When will the Abhyasi be relevant in terms of their movement to the next chakra? We should be able to work it out, no? So if we say, no, we don't want to have all those kinds of things, we just want to have little bit of first chakra, little bit of second chakra, little bit of third chakra. But if you have little bit, by the time you go to Brahmanda, you will not stabilize there, you will come back again. Like if we are not satisfied with some of the experiences that we pass through in life and we come back to it again, likewise, if we are not satisfied with the experience of the conditions of a chakra, we will come back to the chakra again. You got the point? So suppose you had a particular wish when you were childhood, and unfortunately you could not fulfill it. So even when you grow into adult, that wish needs to be fulfilled, needs to be worked on. So you will see that some people, when they become adults, that for example, somebody likes ice cream, but they could not have an ability to eat the ice cream in the childhood. Now, when they come to a stage where they can earn the money for themselves, you see that they'll be binging on ice cream. The reason why they're binging on ice cream is that is an unfulfilled desire which has been held in their mind and heart for a long time. Now they want to satisfy their desire to a certain extent, to a large extent. So you'll see that there is a phase that they pass through in the first 2 years of life where they binge on ice cream. But it doesn't stay like that. Maybe after 1 or 2 years, once the mind and the heart says, you've had enough taste of ice cream, you've tried all varieties of ice cream, now you can move on. Then they'll actually move on. Can you see? Now that's a natural thing that happens to everyone. Nothing wrong with that. What is wrong with that? Now, if we were to work on this kind of a thing in an Abhyasi where the Abhyasi is very keen to have that experience and we want to take the Abhyasi away from that experience, that's not going to occur. So, we have to allow the Abhyasi to have that experience with checks and balances so that it doesn't become a detriment for the Abhyasi spiritual journey. That's our job. Our job is to keep the focus on the spiritual journey. Abhyasi might have various desires that they want to fulfill. And we should be okay with it. We should allow that. That's fine. As long as the direction of that journey is in the spiritual. What is the advantage when we turn the direction to spiritual uh, level or in that way? What happens is this desire that needs to be fulfilled, it doesn't go to beyond a certain range. In other words, the desire will be fulfilled. The desire will be fulfilled in a lesser quantity, but the heart will feel satisfied. Okay, this desire has been satisfied. The heart will feel satisfied. Because when we impart spirituality, we are making the heart sensitive to moderation. So every unfulfilled wish that the Abhyasi has will now be fulfilled much more faster without the need for binging, without the need to get entangled, because we are now imparting moderation to the heart. Can you see how it actually works? Anyway, any other question? This is very similar to asking a person to get a blood test. And they get the blood test and they'll say, I'll just keep it away. I don't want to look at it, but I will treat you anyway. What will the fellow say to you? Are, if you're not going to look at the blood test, why did you get it done at all in the first place? And if you don't look at any results and work with them, they'll go to another doctor then. Right? That's what we'll do, no? Any person will do it. That's exactly how it is if we do not develop the Abhyasi's ability to work with the conditions. After some period, when the Abhyasi will change the preceptor. Like a patient will change the doctor, the Abhyasi will change the preceptor. That's all that happens. And then in order to keep the Abhyasi with the preceptor, we tell another thing, which is that every preceptor is the same. It doesn't matter who to take the sittings from. That is correct. That is like saying that every doctor is the same because every doctor has read the same thing. But how does the doctor relate to my condition? How does the doctor actually explain to me about my condition? How does they help me actually get out of the difficulties? That is what matters. It does not matter what they have studied. What matters is how are they going to help me in my difficulties. Likewise, it doesn't matter that we are all connected to the same master. We are using the same energy coming from the master, the same pranahuti. But then each one of us need to develop how to use that ability given by the master, the energy that is coming from the master for the spiritual journey of the Abhyasi. Now that is left to each one of us, each one of the preceptors. So there will always be differences. Right? So that's another way of looking at it. So when we say that you have to develop the sensitivity to look at your experience with the meditation, that is like developing your own lab report. Here it is blood report, here it is the report of the consciousness. That's all it is. So we want you to look at it in a slightly different way than what people are doing. Of course, we should not go to the other extreme. Other extreme is, okay, we start hair splitting about every experience that Abhyasi passes. That's also not useful, because then we'll be stuck in a loop. So we should be able to pick up main points of the Abhyasi's experience and then give some kind of an idea regarding what is happening. That's all. To that extent, it will be useful. If I get around 20 or 30 tests done, I will only be looking at one or two which are abnormal. I will not worry about the things which are normal. No, I might have got 30 tests done, but only two tests which are abnormal. That is what I will be focusing on and working with the Abhyasi, with the patient. That's exactly how it is. So, of the things that the Abhyasi will tell you as an experience with the meditation, we will pick up one or two that may be relevant for their journey and elaborate on that and help them learn more about it. That's what we do. Does this make sense? Okay. So 722, not to worry about it. We have to go into the central region. Before we go into the central region, we have to clarify all these things to the Pinda Pradesh and the mind region, and we have done that today. Without having this clarity in the heart region and the mind region, we will not be able to sustain ourselves in the heart, in the central region. Yesterday, you remember one question, Gopal Krishna, they asked, Babuji was sending people to central region because they were asking, but then they were all falling down because they were not qualified to stay there. Our job is to make ourselves qualified and deserving so that whatever condition or higher approach is given by the master, we can make use of them and then actually make that our position. Sarina, will stop Marna? So go through this recording again. It's a very, very important recording because this is going to change the direction in which you are going to develop an Abhyasi and how you are going to develop subsequent Abhyasis who come to you. So it's very, very important. So just go through it, make some points, and then if there is any still doubts or clarifications, please bring it to the next session. Sarina? Okay, good.
The preceptor also should have a diary for an Abhyasi.
Correct. In fact, many times the preceptor actually writes down what technique was used for an Abhyasi. So that when the same Abhyasi comes next time around, they know what was done last time around so that they can actually build on that. Correct. So after when you become preceptors, what is going to happen is not only you make your own entries, you have two choices. In your own diary, as a preceptor, whatever work you do, you can actually write it down there. Or you can keep separate diary for the preceptor's work so that you can mark the day and the time when you have given the sitting, what technique was used, and then what suggestion was used. And then when the same Abhyasi comes for the next sitting, you know how to build on that particular one. So those are all nitty-gritties of preceptor work. So that's why I keep saying, when you become preceptors, you are getting admission to nursery of preceptorship. Most of the people think, no, now there is no question of any nursery. I have crossed all nurseries. I'm now going directly into the engineering college, degree college. No nursery. No. If you have developed as an Abhyasi pretty well, then maybe you probably might be able to catch up the language of the preceptor work much more easily. But if you have not developed that at all and you become a preceptor, you have to learn from scratch. There is no way out of it. Okay. And we have to go through the 1944 whispers. We also have to go through the red book after you become preceptors. And there are so many things to learn.
I started reading that book, volume 2, and Babuji started working from Mathura. So I was going through that book. I completed around 100 pages in a day. So it was good reading.
If you get aligned to that book, no, you'll be hooked onto that book. You will read 50 pages, 100 pages. Within a few days, you want to finish the book. That's how you will read. But then there are a lot of nuances in the book, lot of things that you need to focus on. So when we do the preceptor's session with that particular book, we only are able to read